And so, the ancient ones knew the science of music, and they used music to penetrate the atom with the mind, to penetrate the atom long before its rediscovery in the West in recent history. Penetrating the atom of being, penetrating the 5 secret rays. If you would know the power of music, whereby the soul follows on that sound to the heart of being, then study this form of music you have heard, for it does bring you into the encounter with the cosmic teacher. It does bring you into a polarity of the plus and the minus, you the minus, negative feminine polarity, the teacher, the positive masculine polarity. In this polarity then, beloved, with the sounds, such as sounds you have just heard, you enter into a compartment of being that truly is the heart and the goal of meditation. Think of yourself then as a point of an arrow that follows the sound to its source. You will find that as you intone the sacred Om, you go back to the source. You return to the heart of creation and the great central sun, the word with Brahman. Let us do this, for in my causal body this day I would bring you as close as you are able by your own evolution to approach the very heart of creation, the living word. Thus I have vested you with the spiral of my being, and by your own sounding of the Om in my name, you have approached a higher level of contact with that center. If you choose to do this daily, and if you choose to recite my mantras, I will assist you in coming to the oneness of the mind of God. Where did the apostle get the notion that you should have the mind of God that was in Christ Jesus? So it is the ancient teaching of the Lord Christ and the Lord Buddha, unto levels and times far beyond that which is recorded. Know then that all partake of the universal mind, all have but one mind, there is only one mind, that mind is God. Thus each one a cup for a portion of the mind, yet it need not be limited. There is a question that is asked, Can the individual contain the whole ocean, or must he be content with a drop? Can the individual contain the whole mind of God, or only a molecule? This question, beloved, does not make sense, for the whole of the mind of God is contained in a single molecule or a single drop of the ocean. Thus, any way you look at it, you have the mind of God. Yes, you have it. The only question is, do you use it? Do you enter it as a great sphere of light, as though you would enter a sphere of pulsating mind, pulsating, stimulating in you through your higher self, your soul, your spiritual faculties, your chakras, stimulating in you then all that you need to know to solve the problems of your own path and dharma and karma, and all that you need to know to solve the problems of the earth. The mental body and the brain itself, beloved, and the central nervous system are like cosmic instruments, and upon those instruments the mind of God does play. And for many who advance on the path, their communion with the mind of God does bypass the brain, the body, and even the mental sheath. You would think this amazing, but it is not so. It is something that takes place in the heart of the individual who has so meditated upon the mind of God, almost unconsciously, as a steady listening, as a steady stimulation, as a steady plucking in to the heart of one, Moses, and the I am that I am, and all who have preceded on the pathway of realization of the One. So, beloved, you may not even realize when the source of the reasoning, the logos within you, has not even been impressed upon you through the brain or any function of the body. Then there is the seat of knowledge in the heart, the seat of wisdom in the heart. And again, it is out of the threefold flame and not conveyed merely through the body, where there are records of those who have been pronounced dead and returned again to tell the tale. They have noted that they had all and full faculties, and yet could not speak through the body or think through the body. The body was useless, and yet they retained all knowledge of self, and in some cases increased in the great knowledge of the higher self, and the mind, free of encapsulation in the skull, did explore worlds beyond. Think not then that there is any real death, for there is not. There is only transition from this level to the next level, and you need not go through transition to proceed on in the levels of being, but enter into meditation, pursue yoga if you choose. Find the path of meditation that is right for you. Exercise the 7 chakras and the 8th, and combine visualization, the spoken word, meditation, thought forms, and contact with all stars of being, all in one moment. You have this capacity. You know that your mind can flit here and there like a butterfly and not fix on anything at any moment. If this is so, beloved, and follow my logic, then you ought to be able to focus on many, many things at once, since you already do so in your distractions. So why not replace your distractions with focalizations, and many, and visualize needle points of light, needle rays going forth from the mind of God that is superimposed upon you as your higher self. Then walk the earth in your higher self, and let those needle-like rays converge with others, and see how the vast network of the Antakarana, of which your El Moria speaks, the Antakarana of a cosmos that connects the mantras, the devotions, the prayers, the hearts of all those who serve the light of divine love. Think of universal being. Think of how the ashram rituals are prepared for you so carefully by El Moria that you might partake of all who are in that web of light and cosmic consciousness. Think then of how there is a vast interchange, and where some have so saturated themselves with a certain knowledge and a certain wisdom, think how then those very ones can impart to you across the shuttle of that Antakarana encapsulated wisdom that is opened as an ampule in the crown chakra, for you have raised the light of the sacred fire to that crown, and therefore you can receive ampules of wisdom in the vast disciplines that those who have graduated from this earth schoolroom have entered into. And that ampule, when opened, begins to permeate, and every cell, every atom of your being is pulsating with that new knowledge that comes from the mind of God. See how all have access to the computer of the mind of God and to infinite knowledge. See how this patterning goes on in the earth, and how much knowledge you have access to, how much more than 50 years ago. Why, we are light years ahead in the acceleration even of the working of the mind, and yet at the very same time diseases of the brain, such as Alzheimer's, and all types of tumors and degradations of the body that ought not to be, that are not the outpicturing of the true inner self. All these have come upon a people for the many reasons discussed by your professional speakers, and many reasons that we have also taught. I am Manjushri, and I am for wise dominion, and wise taking care of resources available to you. I am for practicality. I am for doing that which is the nearest right move, even though it be not the perfect move of the moment. Above all, do not stagnate. Do what you can do within the hour, within the day, within the year. Plan well, but do not do nothing. For this is not the age of do-nothingness for the Chelas of Manjushri and Maitreya and Gautama. This is the age of accelerated doingness. We see many in high stress levels in the earth because they attempt to catch up with the workings of the mind of God within themselves, but they go about it in a human way, and thus their bodies suffer. And thus, just when they are at the peak of their careers, they find that they must deal with physical problems that are overwhelming in their own beings. I say, light the way. Be the lamplighters in the earth, and know that the lighting of the way to balance in the four lower bodies is the great gift of kindness, the great gift of enlightenment that you can give to many. It seems that just when man or woman is old enough and wise enough and free enough from the lusts of the flesh to truly enter into a spirituality that is truly self-transcending, that they are no longer able to concentrate, no longer able to study, no longer able to enter into the joys that can come to those who prepare the body and the mind. Thus they pass from the screen of life just in the moment when they glimpsed the infinite and knew the correspondence of their soul to the Almighty One. What a pity, beloved, that people everywhere are shortening their lives. Is it not the better part of kindness and wisdom, then, to impart the knowledge you have, and sometimes to do so almost rudely, when you know that people need it and yet do not want it, for they cannot be bothered. They do not want to change. They are in their groove. They are lazy of mind and ignorant of mind. So throw a cosmic spear then of white fire and blue lightning to pierce that ignorance, until, in the absence of that ignorance, one can wake up and discover that he has been in a stupor for too long, perhaps lifetimes. But in retrospect, seeing then the light descend, he can enter into something more real, something more challenging, something that prickles, and it is the light that prickles, beloved. It is a light as pin needles that comes and activates and allows the individual to realize even 10% of his spiritual potential. That in itself should propel him light years beyond his current station. Beloved ones, it is not a time to preserve one's reputation. It is a time to say, I do not care what men shall say or think of me. I must bring truth quickly, before the body is lost and the mind is lost, before this or that one must find himself on the other side, seeking entrance once again to be born again for a life that did not mature and ripen into spirituality that is made of the cosmic stuff that you are made of in the beginning. Thus the cycles of life bring steps and stages. Happy are ye when you have put behind you your adolescence by the time you are 50 years old, so that you can get on with being wise sages and comforters and guidance counselors to those who have come behind you or are ahead of you. Yes, beloved, it is true, this nation is an adolescent nation. Superficiality is always there to tempt people away from any in-depth discussion about anything at all. Adolescence, the desire to keep those years for the rest of one's life. Well, such a pity, beloved, such a pity indeed, when the joys and the frolicking of angels and Buddhas surely produce the greatest God happiness available, with no downside and no depression and no hangover. Yes, beloved hearts, the victory is nigh to you, the victory is nigh, but you must desire it, and even you must slay the beast of ignorance. Yes, that ignorant animal magnetism simply produces a lazy mind, a slothful body, indulgence in foods that also densify. And then you wonder why, somehow, you could not complete this or that project. Suddenly, everything falls apart in your world, for you do not have the strength of fire in being to hold together a matrix and to see it through to the finish. I am Manjushri, and I have a great sense of humor. And you will know that sense in your own life if you give my mantras. For it is humor on the path that truly delivers you from the all too serious levels of fallen angels who themselves have as their only laughter the laughter of the obscene, the laughter of death and hell that is no joke at all. Now I, Manjushri, wish then to pierce a little point near the crown chakra, that I might insert another point of the drop of wisdom's light. May wisdom be your comforter. May wisdom be your home. May wisdom be your father, mother, and your own true being. Wisdom then now opens the door of cosmos. Behold the goddess Theosophia, and know that the Divine Mother in many multiple manifestations is here, there, and everywhere to love you, to tutor your soul, and to rescue you from your own demises. I am Manjushri, ever closer and closer to the physical octave. May you find me, and find me soon, for I am ready to take you, and to take you with me to octaves, octaves of light, where you shall rejoice, Put on robes luminous, robes of self-knowledge, and return again at dawn, and know that there is truly a way to accomplish all things and to deliver this earth unto the heart of God.